Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on? I hope you guys are doing well. I am walking through Iceland, and I want to talk to you guys about this stock market and some things you might want to be careful about, some warnings that I've been reading in terms of where the market might go. You could be in for a significant crash. Nothing is guaranteed, nobody knows. But I'm going to tell you what I've been reading and give you some insights, and also talk about some ways you can find some good stocks to invest in as I walk around Iceland. So get comfortable, buckle up, seatbelt. We're going to get started on drboycetv.com right now.
Here we are, clearing the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on? Welcome to a special episode of drboycetv.com. I am tuning in from Iceland, and as you can see, it's absolutely beautiful, and it's a crazy place because it is it stays bright here. I think until about 11 o'clock at night, or almost even midnight. That's what they told. I think they might have even said midnight. The sun doesn't go down till midnight. So, if you want my recommendation on Iceland, I can tell you I love this place. It's beautiful. Now, again, Iceland is a place that's full of lots of, well, a little bit of ice and a lot of white people. Our code word is vanilla ice for all the folks. So if I point over and I say, there's some vanilla ice over there, you know what that means. But anyway, let me jump back into it. All right, so the reason I'm chiming in with you guys, and as I walk, and I'm just literally doing a walk by myself, I like to walk and think and reflect. And I think that all intelligent black people, everybody that wants to be intelligent, you should spend time having mindfulness, just thinking about your life, reflecting on things. And so that's what I was doing. And I was thinking about the stock market, and I was doing some research, kind of reading some content and kind of analyzing some things. And you guys know my PhDs in finance. That's what I do. I've been teaching. I taught at University of Kentucky, Indiana University, etc. So this is my thing. I think you got to be careful about what's been going on in this stock market right now. In fact, there's a statement right there. Only a handful of stocks pulling the index higher, so it could start. It could sort of rebalance. Yeah, that's one of the many variables that makes me worry about this recent market rally. A lot of you have been making money hand over fist, and I'm really happy for you. What I would say to you, and this is not investing advice, this is just me telling you what I'm doing right now, is really protect your neck. As they say in the with what group was that, Wu-Tang Clan, that said protect your neck. Protect your neck, because a lot of these gains that you've been getting could be disappearing. A lot of the gains that you've been receiving could go away very, very soon. In fact, there are some people predicting thunderous declines in the stock market, which could be very bad for you. Now, do me a favor really quick. Let me ask you, as you hit the thumbs up button, can you guys hear me? Let me know if you can hear me okay. Put a B1 in the chat if you can hear me all right. I want to make sure my audio is good. I was in this blue thing called the Blue Lagoon, and I put my phone in the water a little bit, and so I want to make sure my phone's still good and my audio didn't go bad. So let me know if you can hear me okay. Give me a yes in the chat or a B1 to let me know you can hear me. And also, my website is boycewatkins.com. My new book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. So if you'd like to get a copy of that book, just go to my website, boycewatkins.com. My kids will ship it to you. We run our family business right out of our house. If you want an autographed copy, you can even get that from the store, and my kids will ship it directly to you. All right, so thank you very much, Cinnamon Swirl and Vivian Rochelle and Adolf Hester and Tanya Patterson. I appreciate you. Okay, great. All right, so basically, the lack of breadth in this market increase is very concerning. It's really kind of a handful of stocks that's kind of driving this upward momentum in the stock market, and a lot of it is a matter of what they might call a flight to quality, where people are so afraid of the general market, the general economy, that they sort of run to the biggest ships, the biggest boats. It's like imagine there's a tsunami, or there's thunderous water on an ocean. The ocean is like the economy. Well, if you're on volatile water, you want to be on the biggest boat, because the biggest boat is less likely to sink. So Apple and Microsoft and Nvidia and Google and Facebook, those are the biggest boats. And what's happening is they are not they're not spreading the wealth yet. And what we're really hoping though is that over time, and I believe this is going to occur long term. Again, this is not investing advice, but this is what I'm thinking. The market breadth should at some point increase, and when it does, that's when a lot of your other stocks will start to follow suit. This is a beautiful time to be invested. Everything that I'm seeing for the next couple of years says that the pain of the last 2 years is gone. During the last 2 years, those of you that were kind of in the prime program, stuff like that, you know what we've been doing was we've been selling a lot of call options, and believe it or not, even as you watch your equity values drop, the income you were earning from selling your calls was actually allowing you to have some protection, right? Because people who were buying the calls were getting absolutely killed, so that was kind of like free money. But at the same time, the market's kind of adjusting, and you got to kind of be ready for that. And in fact, actually, I'm going to find a couple of stocks that I like this week. And if you want me to send them to you, I can send you a profit alert for free. Just text the word stock to 31996, and I'll put that on the screen. If you text stock to 31996, I'll say, after I sort of dig around a little bit, I'll find a couple of stocks that I like, stocks I'm buying. And again, there's no guarantee. Investing has no guarantee. Make sure you understand, investing never has a guarantee. So never ever think that because a finance professor picks an asset that means it's going to work. It's like basketball. You just hope that you can hit 60% of your shots. If you do that, then you're doing pretty good. So some shots don't go in, but I'll find some stocks that I really like that I'm invested in. Let's see here now. Someone asked, am I still in Iceland? Yes. I'm going to be in Iceland for 4 more days. Yep, you're absolutely right. I am going to be in Iceland for 4 more days, and I've really enjoyed it. And I highly recommend getting a passport and going overseas if you can. Just international travel is good for you. It allows you to kind of see how the rest of the world lives, and Iceland's just a beautiful place. It's very safe, good people here, and the other thing too is, even though I make jokes about the vanilla ice and how there's so many white people here, nobody's messing with me. Nobody's running up and saying, "Get that nigger out of here." And I really, hope that when you travel, you don't get so caught, you don't get trapped by just racial thinking and everything that you do. Racism isn't always, waiting behind every door. So anyway, another thing about this market right now is that you're finding that there are other signals to say that the market sentiment has been a little bit too momentum driven. So effectively, what's basically occurred, and I wrote my dissertation on this kind of thing. Typically, when the market goes up like this, you're usually going to get followed by a correction period. Okay, so the correction period pretty much means that you could have some cooling off. It's almost impossible for the market to continue to do what it's been doing, right? So effectively, you will end up seeing most likely something that is not as hot as it was before. And in fact, actually, now that I'm thinking about this, I think it will be incorrect to make the assumption that next week is going to be as good as last week, or that next month is going to be as good as last month, just because last month and last week were so good. So this doesn't happen all the time. Now, let me see here. I'm looking at some of your, if you have a question or a comment, feel free to lay that in there. Trolls kind of get eliminated. So I see Elliot Johnson made a silly comment. So if you keep talking like that, you're going to have to go. We only want intelligent black people here. We don't want trolls and anything like that. You can go hang out with the other trolls if you want to, but this channel, being here is a privilege, not a right. I don't beg people to join my YouTube channel. Let's see here. Watkins, stop predicting doom and gloom. Okay, Lord, y'all see what I deal with? Y'all see what I got to deal with? Just a 45-year-old teenager. It's like, seriously, dude, come on. Anyway, the market is, it's predicting doom and gloom. You've had a bad market the last couple of years. The stock market was doomy and gloomy for the last couple of years, and so it's not always sunshine. The thing about investing is that investing isn't always going to be positive. Investing isn't always going to be something that you make money in, right? Sometimes you lose money, and that's what it is. Let's see. I just lost my job. Should I sell now? I don't know if I would sell. There are ways you can protect your portfolio without selling, right? Selling means you're evacuating the building. You can sell a little bit, right? So let's say you own 1,000 shares. You can sell 100 and then hold the other 900 just in case the market goes up. Or you could buy put options to protect yourself against the downside. You can sell call options, which is a bearish strategy. Also, it's not so much a matter of, am I in or am I out? It's a matter of deciding how you want to be in and how you want to be out. Let's see here. Please talk to us some more about Iceland. Um, there's not much else to say right now. I'm still learning about Iceland. The weather is what you think it would be. It's like about 45 to 50 degrees, which is a big contrast because New York was boiling hot. It was 95 degrees when we were in New York. And here it's like I got to wear a jacket here. So I'm glad I packed a jacket and some long sleeve shirts and some sweaters and stuff because this is definitely sweater weather. But it's nice. It's nice. The water's clean and pure, and it's just a good place. How do you think the Netflix writer strike will affect their stocks in the next year? I don't. Netflix is very well prepared for this strike. Do you understand me when I tell you that Netflix has a library of content that you would not believe? And remember, they get their money no matter what. Every month they get their membership fees. And when you look at the top 10 Netflix shows, most of those shows are shows that were made over 10 years ago. So they don't need new content necessarily. They can use that in order to get new subscribers, but they don't need to make new movies. They don't need to go spend billions of dollars making. Netflix could not make another movie for the next 5 years and still make, I don't know, $100 billion. like literally, imagine if you could make, or maybe at least 50 billion. Let's say 50 billion. Netflix literally could say, we're not going to pay for another single piece of content for till the year 2028. Let's say they went extreme like that, and they could do that and still make 50 to $100 billion. So they are caved out. They are fully prepared. This strike is going to just be a reflection of a changing industry. That's just what it is. It's just a changing industry. AI is not going anywhere. Content is way too expensive. These Hollywood studios overspend. We made our movie, B1 the movie, and we didn't spend nearly as much money as Hollywood studios, and we got something that people want. we tested it out. We did our test audiences. Everybody loves the movie. We just grabbed the people that we thought were our movie stars, like Rizza Islam and Dr. Claude Anderson and Nuri Muhammad, and made a great film. And by the way, we're going to do the red carpet in Atlanta at the new Black Wall Street on Marcus Garvey's birthday. So you can go to b1themovie.com if you'd like to take a look. So we're making movies too. We've made several movies. We made let's see, the Black Love Blueprint and what else? Some of Resurrecting Black Wall Street, Raising a Black Scholar, stuff like that. So anyway, let me keep going. Let me look at some more. Tubi's on the come up. Yeah, I've heard about Tubi. I've heard a lot of people are making a lot of money from Tubi, and so that's pretty cool. If you're doing that, I'm happy for you. Any other questions before we bounce? Oh, Keith Patillo, what language do Icelanders speak? They speak, I guess it's called Icelandic. I gotta double check that though. That sounds just too obvious. But I think somebody in the comments said Icelandic, and I know that it's not English. I mean, they know English though, so you can still do stuff in English here. So don't worry about the language barrier. But yeah, I guess it's Icelandic. I don't know. I got to find out. So anyway, yeah. So by the way, so the movie is b1themovie.com. That's the website. You can go take a look. Our goal is to make what we call blackbuster movies because as we talk about Hollywood and I always say, black people should have our own movie industry and stuff like that. It's one thing to complain about it. It's easy to complain. A lot of us are trained to complain all day. And we've actually been building. The money we've made, we've reinvested it heavily into the community, putting people to work, doing our best to develop projects that you're going to like. And so that's kind of what we do. So anyway, hit the thumbs up button, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when I go live. Sometimes channels get shadow banned, and I go live a lot, so just be ready for that, and you can feel free to ignore it. I won't get offended or anything like that, but hopefully the conversations will be helpful to you. And my wife is having her wellness retreat. She's a trauma expert and a therapist. So if you have some trauma you want to get some help with healing from, and I was talking to my daughter's friend about trauma not long ago, and a lot of us have trauma, and it really affects so many areas of our lives. And so if you want to heal from that and work with some therapists, just go to draliciawellness.com. She reduced the price for people that follow this channel, so feel free to go take a look. I live in Portland, Oregon, and I have trauma. Yeah. Well, Portland is a crazy place. I mean, I don't know if the trauma came from your childhood, but when I went to Portland and Seattle, I did not feel safe. Those cities have just been taken over, since the pandemic, homeless people and all that stuff, the drug addiction, the fentanyl and all that. I mean, it's really messed up a lot of those good cities, cities that people used to love going to. People don't go to them anymore. And in fact, $100 billion in wealth went from the north to the south. Did y'all know that literally people were leaving New York and San Francisco and places like that for places like Texas and Florida because they just wanted freedom. I don't care about being conservative or liberal. I just want to be in a place where I'm not going to be bothered. And so I took my family to Florida twice during the pandemic just so we can have a normal life. And we went there. Nobody died. It was great. We had a great time. And that was, a lot of money that we spent down there that we could have spent up north, but we didn't want to. And my wife and I were going to get married in Chicago. We chose to get married in Texas just because I said, I'm going to be, if somebody in their city hall has me put down this big old deposit on this wedding venue, and then they tell me we can't get married because they scared of catching a cold. I'm not saying it was just a cold, but a lot of y'all have caught the virus. I mean, how many of y'all actually caught it? How many of y'all caught it, got better, and was just fine? Like seriously, like that just burns me. That really makes me mad. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but think about it. How many of you, like, give me a yes in the chat if you caught it, if you caught the Rona and healed just fine and came right back 3, 4, 5 days later. I'm not saying that people didn't experience long-term effects, but I see more people going down from diabetes, uh, strokes, heart attacks, all these things that they're giving you every day. The pandemic never ended in those areas. I know people. I know a ton of people. I know a whole lot more people who've gotten cancer since the pandemic than I know who actually died from the virus. I know a couple of people who died from. I know one guy who took the shot and had a heart attack at 38 years old. I think Mark Lamont Hill did too. I think Mark Lamont Hill had some kind of heart thing or something. D.L. Hughley passed out on stage, and all these people, and then LeBron's. I mean, just all this stuff is happening. Nobody wants to talk about it, but if I was to add up the number of people, I'm just being honest with you. I'm not telling you what to think, but if I was to add up the number of people I know who have gotten diabetes, heart disease, strokes, heart attacks, and all kinds of stuff, and cancer in the last 3 to 5, let's say 2 years, versus the number of people I know who died from the Rona. There's no comparison. So the pandemic, there was a pandemic, yeah, but it's the wrong damn pandemic. It's the damn demic. That's like y'all focus on the pandemic. You focus on the damn demic. The one that was going to make money. And this is what frustrates me about capitalism is that capitalism does that. The problem was not that they were trying to protect the public. I think that if they were doing that, that's what they should be doing. The problem is that you can't protect the public adequately when money is your number one motive. These companies made almost $200 billion. I used to say $100 billion, but from the research I found, I think companies like Moderna made $20 billion by themselves. And now I'm partly okay with that because I own stock in Moderna. I owned Moderna stock before the pandemic. That stuff went up like a rocket. Me and my wife made a killing on Moderna stock because we talked to our investment advisor and he said he liked Moderna. I said, okay, this looks good to me too. And so I said, put it in the portfolio because I own hundreds of different companies. Some of them do well, some of them don't. But I remember noticing that, and this company was nothing before the pandemic. This company was struggling before the pandemic, and then suddenly they're one of the biggest companies in the world, and it's just bad. It was just so bad how it was handled, and a lot of people suffered. And it just kind of burns me up a little bit. That people could not make their own decisions. I think that's the part that bothered me the most. And here's the other problem you have is the next time there's a pandemic, guess what? Nobody's going to listen. And people might actually really die. Because the thing is that health problems can be real. Things can actually happen. Let me show y'all this. Look at this. Look at this view. Yeah, can y'all see this view? I'm sorry. I realized that I wanted to take a break from my incessant yapping and show y'all the view here. Can y'all see it? And this is the other direction. This is the other direction is not as exciting. Were y'all able to see that? It's nice, right? Like Iceland is such a pretty place. I'm literally just out walking around, and I just walked by a black lady. It's one of the few black people I've seen here. Cool, right? Yeah. The thing that bothered me the most was the dishonesty. Yeah, it was where they exposed themselves, in my opinion, was when they stopped allowing people to have certain conversations. When you're telling me that some Harvard trained surgeon has been reduced to nothing more than a spreader of misinformation, and we're not even allowed to hear what he has to say because you banned his Twitter account. That right there tells you that there was really an agenda, and I'm glad people kind of spoke out about it. And I'm not saying people should speak out about taking shots or not taking shots or wearing masks and not wearing masks. I just say speak out in favor of truth. That's it. Just honesty. Like, let me hear all the information because I don't trust the government to make decisions for me. The government, and I don't trust them because I understand capitalism. I have a PhD in finance. That's what I do. So I understand the dangers of financial addiction. I understand what money can do to make people. You could, if there's enough money involved, you could literally find some way to justify giving battery acid to babies. If there's enough money involved, there are people, marketers, and federal authority, federal agents, and whatever that can find a reason to convince you to give battery acid to your baby. The FDA, is pretty much bought and paid for. That's why there are so many. Think about this. Think about how many foods there are that we eat in the United States that are banned in most other countries. Like, think about this. Well, it's because of the money. Because what they do with the money is it's kind of interesting. This is an interesting political strategy. It's used even in the black, it's even used to undermine movements in the black community, but it's also done at a government level. See, what companies will do is that they're giving you something that they know is harmful, like cigarettes. And they know people are going to die, but they know it's going to really increase their quarterly profits. They don't try to prove that it's healthy. What they try to do is make sure that it's not completely clear that it's unhealthy. So what they'll do is they'll go hire scientists. Go look it up. This is what they did with cigarettes when doctors were telling people to go and smoke more cigarettes because cigarettes are healthy, and they had videos of pregnant women smoking cigarettes, and people would say it's not good for a pregnant woman to smoke cigarettes. Why are you telling women to smoke cigarettes when they're pregnant? Well, it's because they would come out with science, with their own science, and they say, yeah, we know that there are studies saying that tobacco and cigarettes can give you cancer, but here are our studies that say that it's not so clear. So because there's no evidence, we have to do more research, right? So then you're just delaying. Do you understand? This government, a lot of what happens in politics is just about delaying the issue, right? It's like, let me know if you understand what I'm saying. You don't really have to prove. It's like if I want to discredit a black leader, I don't have to prove that the black leader is truly corrupt. I don't have to do that. All I got to do is make you say, "Huh, I wonder maybe he's not the guy I thought he was." All I have to do is create confusion, right? So a lot of times the propaganda is just designed to create confusion so that people will just say, gosh, we don't know who to believe. And so it may take another 15, 20 years to gain clarity because now you're putting more work on the people that are proving to you that giving a baby battery acid is bad for the baby or whatever. Well, in the meantime of that, you've made another 10, 20 billion dollars, so you don't care. By that time, the CEO and all the corporate executives have already retired, so they don't give a shit. They're not. It's like your politicians. Your country's going to hell in a handbasket because your politicians aren't thinking about what America is going to look like in 50 years. They have no incentive whatsoever to think about what America is going to look like in the year 2075. All they're thinking about is, can I get reelected in the next 9 months? That's it. If I can destroy America over the next 50 years in exchange for getting reelected in the next 9 months, their thinking is, I'll take that deal every chance I get. Every chance I get. And that's what I want you to kind of understand is that, so effectively the difference between us and, say, Asian societies like Japan and China is that China and Japan, they make 50, 100-year plans for their society. And those plans, in most cases, are given the range to supersede how much money you can make by throwing away your future. So, but now some areas that's not true though. Like some areas in China, for example, in China, they're really bad with the environment. I think they're hurting the world, just by the fact that they're trying to make money with their industrialization. But when it comes to things like their children, I've seen China kill an entire industry. I've seen China destroy $100 billion industry. I know this because this killed one of the stocks that I own. Just it was a company called Tekadu. I cry every time I think about it because I probably made $100,000 from that stock. But anyway, but they literally killed the whole industry because they said this is not good for our children. It's putting too much stress on them. So they just said we're not doing this anymore, and they shut down like a bunch of the companies in that industry. They told them you all have to be nonprofits. You can't be for-profit companies because we're not going to harm our children for a profit. So it doesn't mean China's perfect or that we should put them on a pedestal, but it does mean that, there's ways you can make your money without selling out everything and everybody all the time. And America's biggest problem is that you have an addiction to capitalism. That's why if you have kids and grandkids, make sure that they get the passport for them. Take them to other countries. Let them see that they can live in other places besides the United States. Let them see other countries so they can see what real heavy poverty really looks like. Instead of thinking that somebody's poor because they live in the projects, but they have a PlayStation and some Air Jordans, that ain't really poverty. Take them to like a South African slum, where there's no electricity, no running toilets, no, little chickens are running around and just kids with no shoes and stuff like that. Let them see what poverty looks like, but then also let them see what possibility looks like. Like take them to other places so they can realize, hey, I could live in Jamaica and still have a good life, or I could go live in Africa, or I could live in Europe, or I can live in Latin America, or whatever. Because then what'll happen is they'll feel like they have more range. They won't feel like they have to just deal with however white people treat them in America. They'll have other places that they can go, and they'll have that passport already working by the time they're 14, 15 years old. So going out of the country won't be this sort of big scary thing, right? Because at some point there may come a time where they have to become refugees. If there's a nuclear war, or the solar flares hit, like Neil deGrasse Tyson talks about, and we go back to the Stone Ages, they're going to have to be able to adjust. And one of the biggest problems I think that we have as Black people is that we're not prepared to adjust. We can't even grow our own food, so that's going to be a real challenge for us. And I'd be curious to know how that plays out. All right, so anyway, guys, I'm about to get out of here. It's great talking to you. I hope you have a wonderful day. And I know we talked about the stock stuff in the beginning. I know I kept talking about a bunch of other things, but y'all know what it is. I like to just have intelligent conversations with intelligent Black people, and I appreciate the chance to talk to you. If you could please hit the thumbs up button. Also, please hit the notification bell if you'd like to be notified when I go live. And also, just a reminder, if you want to take a look at my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, or any of my books, and I can sign them and send them to your house. Just go to drboycebooks.com, and my books, Black American Money, all that stuff is there. And also, if you want something free from the Black Business School, you can text the word stock to 31996, and I'll send you profit alerts. I'll send you our $5 a day investing plan. I will send you, because we don't just complain, we make plans. Also, I will send you a training how to make money without working. I will send you a list of Chinese stocks that I've invested in, and all kinds of stuff to help you get started. You don't have to be scared. Just do it. All right. So anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good day. Love you. I'll check back in from Iceland pretty soon. Talk to you later. Peace.